Well, Secretary of State Antony Blinken is insisting that the tentative deal to bring home a group of Americans detained in Iran is not tied to nuclear talks between the two countries. Meanwhile, there are some new questions about why one prisoner was left out. Shahab Dalili, an Iranian immigrant with permanent American residency, has been detained in Iran for over 7 years. Now, Dalili and his son Darian, they're undertaking simultaneous hunger strikes. They're not eating in protest of the U.S. deal with Iran to just draw attention to his case because he was not included in that prisoner swap. On Monday, Deputy State Department spokesperson Vedant Patel could not give a clear reason why Dalili was not included in the swap.
What I would say in the case of Mr. Dalili is that that case has not yet been determined wrongfully detained. But let me just be very clear about this so there is no confusion. Every U.S. citizen wrongfully held in Iran has been released on house arrest as part of the news that we shared last week.
It appears that there is some miscommunication or a lack of information here, but let's dig in with Joel Rubin, who served as Deputy Assistant Secretary of State during the Obama administration. And the timing of when this gentleman was detained was during the time of the Obama administration. Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo saying this was a dangerous swap, not believing that this was the right move for the U.S. To partner with Iran on this one. How can the State Department not determine yet if he has been wrongfully detained?
Well, Adrienne, it's great to be with you. And first and foremost, it's a very good day when we get Americans out of Iran. I think that's crucial. These individuals have been in prison, many of them for years, in Evin prison, which is a notorious prison, and they should not have been there. So it's crucial to get them out, and that's what President Biden has been doing across the board. I think with this individual, it's very unfortunate. There is a process for determining detention status of individuals. And also what we've seen in Iran, even in this latest deal, is that sometimes there are individuals who are not necessarily known to the United States that may be in Iran as well that they're catching up with. And it's a very murky business, quite frankly. Americans detained overseas, and as we've discussed in the past, Americans being in locations that are very harmful. And I fear that this is maybe one of those instances, and now clearly the State Department's going to be focused on this. But overall, this is a very important deal to get these Americans out.
Is it because he's Iranian? He's an Iranian citizen with American residency versus being an American citizen?
I don't think so, because most of these individuals are as well. They're dual citizens. Some are from Iran originally. One of them, Siamak Namazi, of whom I know personally. My wife knows personally. He's a dual citizen. And so that's not really the issue here. But knowing where all Americans in the world are at all times is not something that the U.S. government tracks. We don't have chips in our bodies that tells the U.S. government where we are. And oftentimes people get dragged into situations like this individual, and his case may very well just not have been pushed forward in an aggressive manner. It's unfortunate, though, and clearly it's got everyone's attention now.
And it's a $6 billion deal. That's the important part, that the U.S. would lift sanctions on resources that Iran wants to provide for food and other supplies. Was this a wise investment or barter?
It was, and the technicals matter here. These $6 billion actually Iranian dollars that they earn in revenue from oil sales to South Korea, that then South Korea held as a result of American sanctions put on during the Trump administration. And so that money's been in an account and has always been discussed as a possible leverage or bargaining chip. And it's now being provided to Qatar, an American ally, to purchase humanitarian supplies to then provide those supplies to Iran. So Iran is not getting cash, and it's not getting American money. It's getting its own money spent on humanitarian supplies for the Iranian people through a channel that we can have confidence in. And that's diplomacy. That's why sanctions are put in place, to leverage some kind of benefit for the United States. And in this case, it's getting these Americans out.
Real quick question, as we're out of time, this is still very tentative. What is the decision or the signature that is required to seal this deal?
That is, we're not going to see an American and an Iranian envoy at a table, that's for sure. The signatures are between the United States and our allies in Iran, and the the banks and frankly all the parties to this. So we're not going to see any signing ceremony. This is not a declaration of peace. But what this is a demonstration that hard, tough, smart diplomacy can achieve objectives that advance the United States interests, help the American people. And in this case, the crucial one is saving 5 Americans from what looked like a permanent detention in a horrible prison in Evin. Knock on wood, they'll be coming home soon. And we can look back at this as a deal that helped American lives.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.